The weirdness of this manga knows no bounds, family. And I'm not just talking about how weird and funny all of the scenes, moments, and essentially the entire story of this anime goes. That's just the tip of the iceberg. In fact, that iceberg actually goes deep further, right? But I'm also talking about, or referring to rather, about the very characters that make up this entire story. And everyone, all of the characters that are involved within this manga are so beautiful, and they really do indeed carry what it means for this manga series to be so successful, so great, happy, and just overall exciting, and so very unique and flavorful with the many content that it provides, right? Family, tell me, Rindo, some of you may ask, what can you tell me especially about Hifumi Su, the 23rd unique girlfriend in the Rentaro family from the 100 Girlfriends Who Really Love You series? It's been quite a while, fam, since I've done it. Tell me, Rindo. So let's pick it off right with starting rather with Sue, Now, upon meeting with this particular lovable person, right, she exhibits this sort of really snarky attitude, as she bumped into Rentaro and caused this deck of cards that he used to play with the family, right, to the rooftop. His cards fell down to the ground, and Sue sees the mess the mess around, and began to have a sort of change in mood, as sort of a vibe change, so to speak, right? There's vibe check. How about a vibe change? Am I right? So yeah, she turned into someone really, so gentle, concerned, right, and a whole new, different person from when she first met Rentaro, right? And then right after that, suddenly she once again turned into this sort of someone who's irritated, or who gets irritated easily or disgusted by what's in front of her, right? And when we then find out that she is someone rather who is in love with numbers. And no, family, I'm not talking about math, right? But I'm talking about like real raw, just numbers, right? And quite the contrary, instead of her expecting, or we expecting that she's someone who is good at math, she's actually I wouldn't say worse, but yeah, she's not that good at it, right? Now, this entire thing of how why rather she started to like numbers is still yet a mystery to me. But the way I can defend that rather is that love doesn't need a reason, so to speak, right? The reason why all of us fall in love with a person, or Sue's case, numbers, is just something that this person, she feels that sort of connection, and just that sort of spark and interest to that very thing, and I've seen a lot of videos online, fam, and lots of videos essentially about people being obsessed, so to speak, right, with inanimate objects, for like, inanimate objects and such, right? And well, I won't dive too much into that, right? But at the end of the day, let them just do their thing, right? And in Sue's case, right, in the case of her falling in love with numbers, that sort of love started when she was at kindergarten. Yep, kindergarten. She fell in love with the what do you call this? This sort of medal podium, right, where there's like this stack of first, second, and third place that you get whenever there's a contest. Yep, she fell in love with that, and from then on, when she was little, or at that point, she didn't have as much interaction with her classmates, and spends most of her time at the PE shed where they kept the podium, right? Now, during her graduation, everyone was really sad to see them part ways with their teacher. Sue, on the other hand, like, I love her. I really love her face, as she's so like deadpan-ish, and she's like really wondering why is everyone being so emotional, right? And she's just like, okay. But when she found out that she won't be able to see podium number Sun anymore, that's just when she really burst into tears as well. And in one way or another, somehow she did manage to take it home with her, right? Now, Sue's entire story, right, that we see, sort of faces that similar challenge with Rentaro, of Rentaro's mission and goal, right? It's on how will Rentaro find a way for both of them to be together, right? When this person, right, has other things going on in their mind, something that's preoccupied, right? For instance, a similar case with how Mai really loves May, right? Or that sort of bit with Nano when she refused to date Rentaro, right? Now, our man Rentaro, God bless his soul, how did he reach out to Sue's heart, right? How did he come to really show her about the ways of love and show his sincerity to her? Well, and that's simply, if she loves numbers, then become numbers, am I right? So he puts Rentaro, my man, puts on this spandex suit and begins doing yoga poses in the form of numbers, right? So number poses essentially. And that's essentially it, fam. The many things that this manga does, in order to really show as well the dedication of Rentaro, the uniqueness of the characters at hand, right? It's just so, like, I never would have expected that it would take that approach, but somehow, no matter how weird it is, no matter how odd it may seem, I still find that whole interaction between the two of them so heartwarming and so wholesome, especially when you think about where Sue is coming from, right? Now, in the end, or just fast forward a bit, in the end, one of the get together and one of the main messages essentially that I can take from their interaction, right, from Sue's debut chapter, is that with other people, anything is possible. You can make things happen. Two people is better than one, right? So yeah, that's essentially right about it, right? That it kind of hits the mark perfectly. It's a really good lesson, and the way that it's been executed in this chapter is brilliant, And like many others heroines out there with their stories, there's a lot more deeper layers that we can uncover from it. But that's just the basis of it, right? Now, in terms of character design, I also want to talk a bit about this and more on Sue, right? Now, so Sue HIFUMI, right? Or Japanese way of dictating the name, HIFUMI Sue, right? She's a first year in Hananamitsu, class 1, which is actually the same class with that of Ako, right? Her family name, HIFUMI, contains the characters that can also be read as 1, 2, and 3. And her debut chapter is also at the 123rd chapter. Now, Sue has a very unique design to her entire character that doesn't really scream I love numbers, right, for lack of a better term, because she wears this sort of jacket, right, with a sports like long sleeved attire or suit or something, or undershirt right beneath. Nozuo Sensei had also shared the character design of Sue, and more as well as to what is underneath it, right? Because if you look at Sue, right, she has a sort of jacket on. She's wearing gloves, even, in fact, gloves, and we don't really, you can't really see the aspect in that design yet, or at least starting beginningly, I don't see the aspect of her design screaming like I love numbers, as I said. But further down the road, as I got to see more of Sue, I actually really like her design. It's absolutely beautiful, And speaking of her design, she wears round glasses, no doubt because the circles remind her of Zero, instead of squarish rectangular frames. She definitely chose the circular ones for a reason. And she also has a very unique hairstyle, right, and hair color palette as well. That is sort of short hair and grayish. And I also really love the details that to her eyes, right? Because it resembles or resembles to that rather, similar to Kishika and Momoha's sort of striking or raptor eye look, for lack of better term. And in terms of her personality, she has a sort of similar framework with that of Kurumi, in the same sense that she is someone who gets irked, right, or angry, so to speak, right, or upset at times. Not upset. Yeah, irk is probably the best or closest word I can describe it as. So she's someone who gets irked whenever she doesn't talk about numbers, right, when normal things are involved, so to speak. And yet she is so cute and passionate when it comes to the things that she loves. In the same sense with Kurumi, she gets so happy, so she really glows up whenever she eats and talks about, food, whenever she eats food, right? And that aspect of them being so happy about the things that they love is also one thing that I also really love about Sue's character, right? Now, one other note as well is that Sue also faces this sort of similar internal conflict with that of Kurumi, because of her intense love of numbers becoming a quote-unquote hindrance to Rentaro, right, or to her, right, being closer with Rentaro and connecting with people. And again, in the same way that Kurumi feels whenever she snaps at people, whenever she gets upset, whenever she is hungry, right? But just like Kurumi family and the other girlfriends within the family, right? Whenever they do something that just makes them so happy, whenever Mimimi is talking about fashion, whenever Meme is suiting, whenever Momoha is drinking booze, whenever Hahari is playing with everyone essentially, right? And just so on and so forth, their pleasant face, or the face that they make whenever they do something that they love, is really one of the peak parts of their charm that enhances their very charm even more. It makes them so much more beautiful. And the way that Hifumi smiles whenever she talks about numbers is just so beautiful to see. Nozowa Sensei indeed has this amazing ability to turn unexpected facial expressions, or has the sort of drawing style of which I never would have expected that this style would be something that is so cute. And seeing it right up front, right, seeing it in action, it's actually super cute. And furthermore, to wrap it all up, I guess, with Sue's personality, she also has similar to Rentaro, she also has this sort of immense dedicated love to all the numbers, finding out so many good things about numbers that she just couldn't pick one. And with Rentaro, it's same in the sense that Rentaro finds all of the good traits and good parts of each of the of the family members, of the girlfriends, that indeed he really does love all of them, right? Now, when Sue was introduced to their family, it was really also nice seeing her get along with them so very well, right? Especially knowing that she grew up solely focusing on just numbers and ignoring most of her friends, right? Personally, or honestly, I found that to be quite sad. But if she's happy, it's all cool. But as what was also shown by Rentaro, that happiness can also be brought by being with other people. It can also be achieved, and even better, if I may say so myself as well, when you spend it with other people, right? You can create something even more richer, right? And Sue's journey to accepting and interacting with other people just shows how she would also change, yet still being the number lover that she is. And it again brings me so much joy, and it brings a smile to my face, right? Knowing that she now has company, she has the family to talk about her love for numbers, and just have someone to be around, and people to be around with, and that is beautiful. Another display of this girlfriend being welcomed into this family of eccentric people, unique people, and just being around the company of love and acceptance. And with that being said, thank you for listening, family, and take care.